Arsenal are searching in for a centre forward to come in and act as a stopgap signing or a long-term signing for the injured Gabriel Jesus, who got an injury when Brazil was being beaten by Cameroon in Qatar by 1-0, a goal that was scored in the dying minutes by Vincent Abubakar, the talisman of Cameroon. It's known everywhere. It's no longer news that Arsenal are in search of a centre forward, and guess what? Grammy Bailey, who works for 90 Minutes More, David Austin, works for The Athletic, and the independent transfer journalist known as Fabrizio Romano have come out and really given us huge updates of Joao Felix to Arsenal and what they think about the move and the latest upcomings or aftercomings after Joao Felix came out publicly and confirmed to the hierarchy of Atletico Madrid and the manager Diego Simeone that I no longer want to be here anymore. I want out of this club. Obviously, we've been told and a story has been reported that Joao Felix has been offered to Arsenal by his agent known as Jorge Mendes. Jorge Mendes is to the agent of Ronaldo Cristiano, and in the footballing world he's referred to as a super agent. So, welcome to Rokani Media Football. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rock and David. Smash the like button, comment and share. In this episode, we are talking Joao Felix only. This podcast is dedicated to all Arsenal fans that have been highly and eagerly thirsty for Joao Felix update to Arsenal, because I have a lot for you, and don't hesitate to come in through and tell me what you think about the story of Joao Felix being offered to the club of Arsenal. Not so? So today is really a Wednesday, World Cup day, semi-final 2. It's going to be Morocco, the Africans, taking on France, the defending champions of the World Cup. Obviously, it's really going to be a very huge day. All Africans, we are behind Morocco, and we're expecting another shocker maybe, because they've gone ahead to prove to us that they can make it game in, game out, and that's why we are behind them. Arabs are supporting Morocco, and let's wait and see what's going to happen in there for you. Arsenal, William Saliba starts on the bench. Obviously, Amrabat into the mix of Morocco, and Hakim is here starting for Morocco. So let's wait and see where that is going to go. I don't want to go on and talk a lot about that. I'll say a lot when that game is done, in the match reaction after the game is done. Then we'll be here to let you know what the world of football will be thinking. Now let's talk transfers, guys, but don't forget to subscribe, because we want to hit 9,000 subscribers, and I think you guys are really doing a wonderful job. Now let's talk Joao Felix. Now Graham Bailey, coming in from the 90 Minutes More, has told us that Arsenal have been offered Joao Felix, but the size of the deal to land him does not look problematic. But the size of a deal to land him does look problematic. Atletico Madrid wants a deal worth at least £100 million, as they look to rediscover as much as of their investment as possible. To me, I believe if at all there is any accountant that really is thinking at Atletico Madrid that they can get back the amount of money they bought this player, they are just lying themselves. They are playing a dead game. The player is in a very strong position at Atletico Madrid. That's it. Sorry, than Atletico Madrid and Diego Simeone. One, he has said he wants out. The manager has been benching him. The way he plays him, Joao Felix believes it doesn't suit his abilities of football, and he needs to go out to play for a club that is willing to go on and give him liberty and freedom as far as playing the game of football is concerned. When you look at how Atletico Madrid plays, they play a programmatic style of football that is so much based on a low block and counter-attacking football. That's it. Yet Joao Felix wants to be playing in a team that freely expresses itself to enable his being electrific in the game of football and explosiveness. That's it. Atletico Madrid has denied him that chance to go on and really be explosive and electrific in those games. Now, what led to this situation? Before Atletico Madrid completed the signing of Antonio Griezmann permanently from Barcelona, Joao Felix was getting enough playing time. Now, Why was the scenario like that? Simple. In the contract that linked Griezmann back to Atletico Madrid on loan, there was a clause that if at all he plays 80% of the games of Atletico Madrid will have to go on and pay close to 40 million euros back to Barcelona, because Barcelona bought him 100 million euros plus. You remember that very well. So after that, what they did was not to give him a lot of minutes. He used to play like 8-10 in every game, and they happened to win over Barcelona and paid 20 million euros to get him back at the club. When he came back at the club permanently, they decided to play him alongside Matthias Cunha, and Joao Felix got back on the field, got back onto the bench. And when you add the two, being played pragmatically and now on the bench, Joao Felix came out through his agent and said, I really want to get out of Atletico Madrid. So Atletico Madrid has found itself in a weaker situation, and Joao Felix is in the strong situation to go on and really get this deal done and dusted. But Atletico Madrid want 100 million pounds. This is where I come in and say, reality has to bite in. You can't tell me that you can go on and call for 100 million pounds for this player. The cold harsh fact is, Joao Felix is talented, still 21, 23 years of age, but Atletico Madrid has not added value to this player. This player has lost value for the years has been at Atletico Madrid, because I think he has not even gone ahead to score 20 goals a season. Now, if at all a player cannot even average 15 goals a season, how come you tell everyone that you want 100 million pounds for this player? That's out. That's out. So they can't get 100 million pounds. But if they told me 100 million euros, I would have 100% admitted, because 100 million euros is like 85 million pounds. If at all you say, I want a guaranteed fee of 60 million pounds, and 25 others later, when 25 million add-ons according to performances, that deal can be really taken. And I believe if Arsenal is offered such a deal, they'll go on and take this player. So Atletico Madrid will just have to go on and concede that a loss was made. Let's recover at least like 100 million euros back from this player, then we let him leave. But he has been offered to Arsenal, and I believe he will be a great signing for Arsenal. And I don't want to repeat myself on how this player will come in and fit at Arsenal, because I've been on record on explaining how this player can go on and complement all Arsenal players down in there for you, because he can play in 4 attacking position. He can play as a central attack midfielder, he can play as a left attacking midfielder, he can play as a center forward and a right attacking midfielder. And I believe this would be the perfect signing for Arsenal amongst all the available strikers on the market. I've seen the likes of Vlahovic being talked about, Jonathan David, Ivan Toney, but if I'm Arsenal, I go in for Joao Felix. He has played the Champions League at high levels, huge matches, El Clasicos, Champions League games. He has won things for Atletico Madrid. Remember, they won the league in, I think, the second last season of, I think last season but one, it was Atletico Madrid that really won the La Liga. Obviously, when you add that mentality, when you add that winning mentality to that of Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, I think you have good winners. And I believe he was there with Thomas Partey, and I think the reunion will be okay, knowing one another and obviously doing the needful for the club of Arsenal. So that means Grammy Bailey. Now, after Grammy Bailey, guess who came in through? It is none other than David Austin. This guy is really on point. He's just eloquent. He's just perfect in what he says and what he thinks about this deal. Now, he first told us that on Joao Felix, some I speak to around the game thinks it's more like an Arsenal that will be suited for him, given his style of play and fact that Gabriel Jesus is injured. Now, you hear exactly what David Austin is telling us. It's corresponding with what Grammy Bailey is telling us about him being offered to Arsenal. That people he's speaking to are telling him that this player is more suited to an Arsenal system than any other player. And provided that there is a boost of Gabriel Jesus' injury that caused a vacuum in the center forward position of Arsenal, obviously this has to happen, and Arsenal are the favorites to sign this player. Then he has continued to let us know that about this deal of Joao Felix, and they are weighing up who they might like to go for if they go for an attacking reinforcement. Joao Felix definitely one of the January transfer window that we need to keep an eye to. Obviously, we are keeping an eye onto this guy because we all know what it means to have him at your club. I like Joao Felix, and if at all Manchester United can go in and bring him, I'll be okay. But looks like Arsenal is a more attractive ground for him. You know why? The project is really great, and I don't see any way Mikel Arteta couldn't miss out on a signing that even Pep Guardiola needs. We've seen Mikel Arteta going in for very many signings that Pep Guardiola has been eyeing for. Tielemans, Zinchenko, Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Jesus, very many signs that are really coming in at Arsenal, and targets that Arsenal are being linked to are those that Pep Guardiola at Man City has always been keeping an eye to, all on. So I won't be surprised if at all this happens, and Mikel Arteta must be having an eye onto Joao Felix because he's a player that fits the profile of Arsenal and what their plan is going to be. Then David Austin continue to let us know that Joao Felix is really interesting. Situation for January. Things have not gone well at Atletico Madrid. My understanding is that he will be leaving. That's the clear expectation of people around the situation. So this player wants to leave. He wants out. And let no one lie to you that there is something that is going to persuade him to stay at Atletico Madrid. Unless otherwise the manager is sacked, because for him, he fell out with the manager totally. The manager has failed to come out and put him in a better position to go out and bring out his entire career. That's the problem with Joao Felix, because he believes he's a better player, he can score very many goals, he's talented, and that's not a doubt. But the way he's being played, he has not even scored 20 goals this season ever since he signed for Atletico Madrid, yet he has been played in the lead striking position of Atletico Madrid for very many games. Now, David Austin is telling us that given the price he signed for and the length of his contract, you would imagine Atletico would be looking for a huge return of him, and immediately you cast your eyes towards the Premier League where there is some interest. Obviously, I think it's PSG, the only Premier League team that the only two Premier League teams that can go in and pay that hefty price for Joao Felix are Bayern Munich and PSG. That's it. But the rest can't. Apart from the Premier League teams, Man City can, Arsenal can, Chelsea can, Liverpool can, Chelsea can, because even Chelsea are looking for a striker. So we are waiting to see who are they going in for. But it looks like Arsenal are the most convincible side that Joao Felix is going to go on and sign for. But I think the deal is going to be discussed. The agent is really great of Joao Felix. He's experienced, he knows how to maneuver, and I know he's going to go on and do the needful in this game of football, in this transfer, as Joao Felix wants a move away from the La Liga, and his destination or ideal destination is said to be the Premier League. Now, David Austin summarized and ended his conversation about Joao Felix by telling us that some have said to me it could be a loan with a really high loan fee and the massive salary that comes with it. So, obviously, a loan can be permutated for this deal. Do you know why? When you keep a player that doesn't want to play for you at your club, you know the problems that he causes. Look at Aubameyang, look at Ronaldo Cristiano. You get? The problems that come with keeping a player that doesn't want to stay at the club are really huge, and they lead a club like Atletico Madrid into drowning, and you wouldn't like to see this happen. Obviously, when you are a manager of a team called Atletico Madrid, you have to let this player go. If Ten Hag, who is not as experienced as Diego Simeone at the high top level football, is really telling players like Paul Pogba to leave, Ronaldo to leave, and very many others at the club, then who are you not to let this player go? Because he is young, and he will sit with you in your office and tell you, please, I'm young, can you let me go? Can you let me go? The best thing is If they can cut out a loan for him, like he comes to Arsenal and he plays and scores like some 15 goals, then I believe he can regain his value. If I'm Atletico Madrid, that's what I'll opt for. That's what I'll go on and opt for, because I believe when you opt for that option, it can really take you to where you want to be, and that is the promised land of £100 million. Get him to a team that is going to field him, that suits his style. Let him score those goals, and in the summer, you'll call out for that amount of money. Not so? That's what David Austin is telling us about this deal, and I believe it will work out like a charm for Atletico Madrid if at all they go that way. Now, Fabrizio Romano has also come out and he told us what he thinks about Joao Felix to Arsenal. He says, I think Joao Felix would be a fantastic signing for Arsenal, as for any club in the world, but he has to play regular starter in every single game. Otherwise, it makes no sense. Yeah, obviously, when you go in and sign in a player of £100 million, he has to come in and play. But if they can figure out a loan, because Joao Felix really has a contract, he signed a contract of like 6 years. 6 years. It's expiring in 2026? I think it's even 7 years. It's expiring in 2026, meaning that they can loan him out on a long season loan, then another club will come in and buy him. I believe that will be the best thing for them to do, because you send him at Arsenal, scores goals for Arsenal, like 10 or 15, he can even average 20, because Arsenal really creates lots of chances. And even if Gabriel Jesus comes in through, they can lead the line together. He can play that line together. And that's what Fabrizio is telling you, that he's a regular starter. You sign him and bring him at the club, he has to be a regular starter. Something that I believe or reckon with Mikel Arteta has no problem with, because he wants players to compete at his team. Then lastly, Fabrizio said, despite some reports about Arsenal moving into a strong position, my understanding is that there are no favourites at this stage for Joao Felix. So Fabrizio is telling us that there are no favourites to sign Joao Felix in this time now. So guys, thank you for watching in. What are reactions for Joao Felix being offered to Arsenal? Fabrizio Romano, David Austin, and Grammy Baby reacting to that. And I'm waiting for your reaction in the comment section below. Rokani David is my name. Let me go off to watch this game of Morocco versus France, and then I'll come back with the match reaction, because it's what we are all out for here onto the channel. Don't forget to smash the like button close to 200 times, and then smash the subscription button and hit the notification bell. Rokani David is my name. I sign out for now. See you later. I hand you over in the hands of the Almighty Lord and Jesus Christ to protect you and give you the best of life that you guys want, because without him we are no ones. Not so? Bye bye for now, guys.